You are listening to an exclusive preview of this week's episode of STF Underground.
What do you guys want to talk about?
I want to ask you a weird question about. You guys had this great show, it was a hit show, but it's the first time there's been a big wrestling show in Chicago since All In where there hasn't been CM Punk chants. Even though he was part of the weekend, was that a concern going in that the fans might want him on the show? And how do you feel when coming out that didn't even come up?
I think it's great. I think we have really respectful fans, and I think everybody made it really clear that he wasn't going to be here, and so I don't think there was any expectation for it, and I think everybody got what they wanted to see. So I'm really happy with the show, and so I'm glad out there that wasn't what anyone's thinking about. So hopefully back here there's more about what this is the show we actually did. Thanks.
One of the big surprises of the night, it felt like, from the crowd reaction was Kenny losing to Pat clean. You said wins and losses matter, so what does that mean for Kenny Omega?
Well, I think Kenny's one, he's had it up and down, right? I think he, he didn't get the win against Chris in the first match, which set up the title eliminator, but then had a win at Fighter in the six-man, and then had beaten Shima at Fight for the Fallen. So now kind of evens it up a little bit, but it really says that Pac establishes him as a top player for us, and I think Pac's going to be a really important person in AEW, and that is a great start to his run here, and he's 1-0, and it's a big one. And so it puts him right in the mix, so that's really big.
Can you shed some more light into that?
I take that as he's in.
Yeah. I think I do expect Pac's gonna keep wrestling here. Thank you. Yeah.
Can you shed some more light into that? You said wins and losses matter. You've said it a couple times. What does that mean moving forward? Is there a way to keep track of that, within the company?
Yeah, well, so I know you guys were all out in the crowd, so we actually did have on several of the matches records. And they were specific records, and we listed 2 records. So there was a record specific to the type of match it was. So like for singles, there was a singles record, and there was like a tag record for like tag team matches, and then for the trios match that we opened the show with, there was a trios record because SCU were 1-0 in trios. So we have singles records, tag records, and trios records. Then we have like overall records when applicable. For different people. Sure. Like for example, Cody was it said he was 1-0-1 in singles because he had the win against Dustin and then the draw against Darby, right? And then but he also had the tag loss, so that's why his overall record was 1-1-1, but his singles was 1-0-1. So yeah, we've started to establish it more like a sport. I think does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Tony, who stood out to you talent-wise, some of the younger talent on the card that maybe people weren't too aware of, but who stood out to you a little bit more, just on this show in particular, anyone?
Well, I thought Private Party did a great job in the opener, and then it's not like Jack's been around forever. Jack Evans has been around forever, but I think this is going to be the best showcase for Jack Evans and Angelico, and I thought they did a great job in their match. In the women's battle royale, I was really proud of the women in the casino battle royale, and I thought so many people did a great job there, and I was really proud of that. Across the show, there were really top performances across the board. Hangman is a young man and came in the main event. And I thought that was a really, really tremendous main event we had, so I was also really proud of that, considering he's going to have a really long career ahead of him too. So it was a great performance from him, even though he is not the first AEW World Champion.
We saw Arn Anderson tonight. There's a chance to see more of him in AEW.
I never say never. He did a great job, and that was a huge pop for that. And I was really excited about that, and I'm not surprised that it got a great reaction. And I'd love to see more of him. That'd be great.
Does Tully stay with Spears long term?
I think I expect he will. Yeah, I think the expectation is those guys are going to be together. It seems like it. Yeah, I think so.
Any update on the status of Kylie Rae? She's been a little bit absent.
She's no longer with us. We had so many things so many announcements going into the Battle Royal, but she asked for a release and we granted it. So she called me and asked if she could be released from her contract, and it was pretty simple. I said yeah, and I asked her if everything was okay, and she said yeah. She just didn't want to be with the company anymore, and we talked about it, and it was very simple. And so yeah, she's not on our roster.
Seem amicable.
Super amicable. She's a very nice person.
Now it's just called AEW on TNT right now. Are you planning on giving the show a name? Or?
Yeah, I wanted to go all out and focus on that before we start. Everyone's aware we have a show launching on TNT, and I think it was a big part of the build up this summer that people knew there's a show on TNT coming. And that's why people want to get invested now, because this is going to become a huge part of people's lives, watching wrestling on TNT for a couple hours every Wednesday night. And so that's why I think like a lot of people have invested themselves in the AEW as a company, AEW, the wrestlers and storylines, and that's you know, so yeah, absolutely. Like I do think you know, yeah, it's a huge part of it. Do you anything else pertaining to that?
I was just wondering if you could maybe like, I didn't know if you were gonna tell us the name. I was like,
No, I'm not. No. I'm not gonna. Not tonight. But there's gonna be a name for the show. It's not gonna be All Elite Wrestling because I think it would be like confusing between the company and the name of the show. So we won't call it. The name of the show will not be All Elite Wrestling.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to know.
No. Sure, it's great. Yeah, perfectly good question.
Tony.
Hey, AJ.
Whenever Pac didn't fight Kenny yet, and he was still at 0 wins, 0 losses, someone said that he was an undefeated.
Like the NFL again, like the Super Bowl, we're part of the greatest brand, the greatest game in the world. But without all the league and the season and the playoffs behind it, you know, makes it that much more important. So that's what my thinking on it, on where we're at.
Tony, the wins and losses, when we talk about that, is there going to be something that ends like a season finale with these guys with the best record, or is this going to be something that's cumulative?
I think we're going to look at like record year to year, like and throughout a calendar year, but I also think like you're going to keep an overall record, and it's always going to live the same as with any other sport. Like your record is, but you know, certainly people go on runs. You know, Manny Pacquiao lost some fights early in his career, and then went on a run, and then he lost some fights, and then he has gone on another run. So you never know.
So would it be like a championship opportunity for the guy with the best record at the end of the year? Would it be a playoffs? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, well, we have some exciting announcements. I think the big focus going into TV right now, obviously with Crown, I'm really excited that Chris Jericho, you know, is now we've established that between Chris and Hangman, who's going to be the champion of Chris, and now going into TV, I think a big focus for us is going to be on TV1. We've got a huge women's title match now. Nyla Rose, I thought Nyla Rose is already a big star. I think Nyla Rose already proven Nyla Rose is a big star, but put a lot of thought into that. And Nyla Rose, if you didn't consider Nyla Rose a star before, I think you should now. And Nyla Rose versus Rio and Shida was awesome. And I've talked a lot to you guys, like individually and collectively, about the fact that I believe in Joshi, and I think that with the platform we have now, we can introduce a lot of fans, both here in America and worldwide, to some of the great Japanese women's wrestlers. And it's a style that like people really love and want to embrace, similar to almost 25 years ago, 24 years ago, when Nitro launched and Lucha Libre became more prevalent on American television. And I think similarly, the Joshi wrestlers have been great. And you know, Shida and Rio, I give them a ton of credit. Yuka Sakazaki's coming and done some great things also. So we have some really exciting things. But Nyla Rose and Rio, I think for the title, is a huge focus for us on the first show. In addition to the matches we've announced, Cody versus Sammy and the Sixer, with Chris and the Mystery Partners against the Young Bucks and Kenny. And so TV2, we start the playoffs for the tag team. So when you talk about playoffs, yeah, the tag team playoffs start week 2, and they're going to go out, and we've announced the semifinals will be in Pittsburgh, and the finals will be in Charleston, West Virginia, week 4, week 5. So across week 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to see some great tag matches, starting with Young Bucks against Private Party. And Young Bucks had a tough night tonight, but I thought it was a great showing. And Private Party, I thought, again, another great night for them. So
with TV comes advertising. Have you had good luck finding the advertisers?
Yeah, they've got a chant for Cracker Barrel tonight. That was pretty good. You get a chant for the advertiser, and we actually had a great. I'll put some photos on social media later. But we had a great party a couple days ago for a lot of the sponsors, potential sponsors, and our partners at Warner Media, and a lot of the advertising partners that are out there. And yeah, we're gonna really pound the pavement. We do the same thing in football, both here and in England, and I really believe in it, giving the sponsor everything for their dollar. I thought Cracker Barrel was a great relationship because we got a lot of it too. Both they took great care of us. We were compensated, but we were financially, but they also compensated us with the best catering you'll ever get for a pay-per-view. Again, Cracker Barrel, the food is great.
So, we were talking about the women's division. Yesterday we brought some very good, talented women here tonight. Mercedes Martinez, Priscilla Kelly, Shazam McKenzie, Nicole Savoy, just to name a few.
Yeah.
Any of them you'd like to sign full-time with AEW?
Yeah, we have a lot of people on the roster right now, and right now one of the challenges we're all going to face, and again, it's something I'm going to have to come to grips with as we're coming in with content, is look, I don't want to oversaturate the market with content, but the fact is on a 2-hour show, we're already on tonight, on a pay-per-view, a 4-hour pay-per-view with a 1-hour pre-show, you still don't see, there's still some very important people on the roster who still are not wrestling on the show necessarily every week, and so with a 2-hour TV show, you're not going to see everybody every week necessarily. So I do want to make sure everyone's getting time right now, and there are people I really care. This was the first time Penelope Ford's wrestled, for example, and I wanted to get Penelope Ford in sooner, but we have a lot of people we're trying to get to, and she did a great job. But even though she wasn't in the match as long as she would have liked to be, but she did well when she was in there and did some great stuff. So everyone you named is great. I really like every single woman you name there, and I think all of them could potentially be in line to come back here.
Tony, you mentioned.
So let me get AJ real quick, because I always like to get AJ early because you guys can stay late. I don't want to keep him up all night. I'll stay for you guys all night.
You were talking about only Wednesday and Tuesday. What about Saturday? Is the reason why you're not doing on
We do our
Saturday?
pay-per-views on Saturday, so we do shows on Saturday. So you've been to a few of them now. So this is one of our pay-per-view nights. So I can't do the TV the night of the pay-per-view because then it would be, what do you do the night of the TV? So I like to, and also it's a really good to have a weeknight. I believe in a weeknight primetime show. People come home like I used to do. People come home from school, come home from work at night. And it's like an important part of your week. It really does become, and my whole life it's been. But Saturday, we're going to do shows on Saturday too. So hopefully I'll see you on a lot more Saturdays over the years.
So I mean, like maybe we don't do the TVs on the week of the shows. Maybe we just.
You could do it. I mean, it's people have here's the thing. So when people have traditionally had there have been pay-per-view, people have done pay-per-views on Sundays and they've had Sunday shows, and that particular show, it's usually not their A show. It's usually their B show, and usually they'd either turn it into a countdown show, which you could turn your show into a countdown show, but we'd have to start it really early. It's just, I can explain to you later, but there's probably a lot of reasons why. Wednesday was a really good night for us to land, so it was something I always would have liked to have had. So it's good, and doing the pay-per-views on Saturday is what I wanted to do too. So it's all working out good.
We've seen referees in AEW have more tendencies and individual characteristics than other companies. Is that a concentrated effort or just kind of?
No, I mean they have personalities, and I let them do the. I mean, we talk about stuff, and people, and I think everyone gets to showcase with it, their personalities, and we have a lot of belief in all the people here, not just the wrestlers, and everyone backstage, and then the referees too, and they do a great job. So I thought our referees did an awesome job. I was really proud of the way they did, and I think why wouldn't you want everybody on your show to have a great personality?
I'm sure you see that a lot in your other lines of work too. Referees that can influence the outcome of a game.
So the referee can maybe have a little more flair and personality here than you'd want in another sport. But yeah, I think it's great, and I'm really glad our referees did such a good job. And I thought it was a really fun show, and I was really glad Aubrey delivered not just refereed a great match, but also it was a great moment. Her presentation of the championship, I thought, added a lot of prestige to what was already a very prestigious moment.
You've famously been a big fan, obviously, of wrestling all your life. Did you get a chance today to take a step back as a fan and mark out, so to speak, for anything?
No, I can't really do that. I mean, I'm at work, and same as been growing up going to football my whole life too in Illinois. I've been going to the University of Illinois games as long as I can remember, both football and basketball, and I love them. And now I work in football every weekend in front of huge stadium crowds, and I can't really. Every once in a while you soak it up, and I really soaked it up. I did really appreciate once we were off the air, being in the ring. It was really nice, and seeing my mom, because it's only the second show my mom's ever been to. The first show she'd ever been to was Fight for the Fallen, and I've been a wrestling fan for well over 29 years, close to 30 years, and I'd never gotten to her show, and now I've gotten her to 2, and she's loved it, so it's great. Yeah, it's probably the best.
As far as like.
Sorry, you were just sorry. I'll come right back here.
Okay.
Tony, you've shown a commitment to diversity in your tag team and women's divisions. With the end of this match and Jericho being crowned champion, when are we going to see more wrestlers of color in the men's title division?
I think you are going to see some wrestlers of color in the men's title division. It is something that is absolutely really important to me, and we have some wrestlers that are absolutely going to contend. I don't want to tip my hand on that necessarily, who's going to be in contention, but I think you will see. I promise you, by the end of the year, that you will see that I am committed to diversity and doing some exciting things to establish some new stars, both in the singles and tag division, and getting some diversity into those roles. And you'll see, and I'm going to do it in a way that you won't remember that we had this conversation, because it'll be really good. And I'm not forcing it because I'm not doing it because I'm trying to be more diverse. I'm doing it because there are people on this roster that do deserve the push, and we've identified them, and now's the time to push those people. But I don't want to tell you who and when and where, because why would you want that?
Fair enough.
Great.
Following up on that too, there's 2 women's matches out of the whole card tonight. Is there a dedicated plan that you're trying to stick to, or would hope to stick to, of how much percentage of each show on the weekly show is dedicated to women's matches and men's matches?
Yeah, there is, and percentage. I think I will say that some of the shows we've done, some of the content, some of it's been very different than what you'll see on TV, but a lot of it's been very representative. I would like to do at least a few women's matches on every show when possible. There are a lot of wrestlers on the roster right now, both on men's and women's, that I want to try and use more. So it is another effort, and I am open to more content other than just the 2-hour show and these pay-per-views. But the big thing right now is the focus on quality shows like Double or Nothing, All Out. And now Full Gear, I'm really excited about. I think you guys know about Full Gear now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I really hope you come. I promise it's going to be a really good show. We've done really good for our pay-per-views. I think the standard of Double or Nothing and all. I think Fight for the Fallen and Fighter were really, really good shows. I really enjoyed them. But I thought Double or Nothing and All Out, we tried to kick it up to a standard and give people their money's worth. And I really hope all you guys can make it to Baltimore November 9th. It'll be I promise it'll be a really, really good pay-per-view. And what we're trying to do for weekly TV. I think, there's several, like I was saying before, there are a lot of the women's wrestlers that we would need to feature more, and it's something I really do want to emphasize. I personally spent a lot of time in the women's battle royale because I wanted to establish a lot of characters, and I also wanted to establish that certain people in the division are really, really, really important wrestlers, and that's why we wanted to give that a good presentation. I thought the women's battle royale was excellent. Like I said, I thought the Joshi match was also excellent, and I look forward to seeing a lot of those people again.
So no hard number, percentage of 50% men's.
No show, not one show we've done has been we have to get this many men's. It has to be. It's pretty merit based, and I really believe in the people we put on every show. And I'm not saying the people who haven't been on the shows don't deserve it. I'm saying everybody who's been on the show, I really believe they deserve the spot, except for maybe the Nakazawa Jabali match.
Do you have short and long-term viewership goals for AEW on TNT that you're able to share?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't really share. And also, I really need to spend a lot of time now that we've gotten through All Out, because there's been a big push to get through this. You'll be hearing a lot more about that show, the name of that show, the more details about not just week one, but some of the other weeks too. Because every week's gonna be a big show. They've asked me, the network literally asked me, one of the top executives, and I have to get back to him on this. This is this issue. He was like, what are the important big weeks that I should be there? And I was like, they're all important. I'll give you, so I'll tell you a lot of important things that are going to happen, just like I'm telling the fans we've made these announcements and send them a calendar but they're all big, and all these shows are going to be huge. So, with AEW and TNT, I think it's going to be awesome. But to be honest, we need to do a lot more work getting ready for that show now that we've put this one behind us as a company. And I think everybody's looking forward to resting up tonight, regrouping next week. I'm looking forward. Fulham's on international break. The Jags open the season next week. I've already done a lot of work for things I'm going to be doing there to get ahead, because AEW, the schedule wasn't as heavy as it might be in the future, and I've been able to do a ton of work at the Jags and Fulham to take advantage of the fact that we weren't running weekly and to plan ahead. And I'm going to stay ahead in there, and I do think with AEW and TNT, what I would say about it is viewership goals. I expect, if we're in a competitive situation, I expect to be very, very competitive. I'm a very competitive person. I play, in sports and everything we do, and I think, there's an entertainment aspect. But like I've always said, I want people to take this seriously like a sport, and we are a team. We're not united. We are divided. Everyone here is fighting, but one thing we're united on is doing a show that sends our fans home happy, and I think we always consistently been doing it.
I meant numbers.
Yeah, I can't really give you a number. I can't give you a number, and that's why I was saying I will have numbers. I just haven't been able to get them yet. I'm sorry, I can't be specific.
No, that's fair.
Do you see yourself getting inside the ring?
No, hell no. Sorry, AJ. Is AJ still here? He's gone. Okay, hell no. Heck no.
Oh, you should have heard what he said to Jimmy Havoc the other day. AJ, I mean.
Oh, really? Oh, man. Jimmy's heard it all.
Tony, what is it like using animals for entertainment purposes on the show? Because Horror obviously didn't want to be on stage tonight, especially when the pyro went off, and that's really embarrassing for the live crowd, in my opinion.
I don't disagree.
Later on, having a horse as well, it was like the Saturday Night's main event in 1990 when Jesse and Vince were sitting on that.
I will not. I'm a horse. That did not cross anybody's mind. The Hangman on a horse is something people I think have wanted to see for a long time.
Backstage.
I thought Hangman on a horse for the live crowd was great. The horse was totally good. Now I will. Hang on a second. Now what I will concede you. It's okay. What I will concede you is on Pharaoh. Look, I was here last year, and I was nervous for Pharaoh last year, and I was really nervous for Pharaoh this year, and Pharaoh's fine, and I'm glad Pharaoh's fine, but no, I would not ever do that again. And Brandy was not thrilled with Cody, and I was not my idea, and no, with Pyro, I would not have to put Pharaoh in that situation again. I'm not saying, but I do really like having Pharaoh at the shows, and he's a great dog. But no, I don't. I think if you have trained, performing animals with handlers, and you do everything in accordance with the standards, and bring in accredited, licensed people, then I think it's a common thing in show business to do. So no, it just depends on the situation. But shooting the pyro off, no, with a with Pharaoh out there was not something I would have done, and I was not happy about it. And no, I don't think Pharaoh was happy about it either. To your point, so I will concede you. But no, I thought that horse was awesome. And we had the horse, by the way, when the pyro went off, we made sure the horse was well corralled and out of the building before the pyro went off, to your point. So, and especially after what had happened before. We were already going to do that, but I doubled down on it.
So, okay, so you're doing, in a 2-hour weekly show, and you've got this roster here. Now, are you going to be doing matches like before or after the 2 hours?
Yeah.
Like, and are you going to be, and also how much, if any, are you going to be featuring talent from, let's say, AAA? You know, guys, bringing guys in weekly, or, you know, just.
I do expect we still have a good relationship with them, and I think they would still send wrestlers up, I expect, to wrestle for us, and I think our guys will still go down and do their big pay-per-views like they've been doing, and it's been helping them, and their guys have come up and helped us and been great for us. So I do think I expect that to continue, yeah. And I do expect to your previous question, I do expect to tape matches before and after for the fans, live in the audience, and then also hopefully things that people want to see in addition to the 2-hour content. So it's a great opportunity with a live audience. You know, we can do more than 2 hours, not necessarily more than 2 hours live. I think 2 hours live for Wednesday night's a good amount, but we could tape some things, and certainly for the live audience, I think they might probably want more than 2 hours.
But I mean, like, is there ideas of like maybe taping stuff for BR or taping stuff for YouTube or whatever?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I haven't,
to
again, to the
ideas
question,
like
I don't want to like give a bad spinning on answer like I gave to the numbers question. So I don't have the numbers, and I don't know where it's going to air, but I think we'll probably tape more content. I think people are going to be really excited when they see it, because we have talked about some really exciting ways, and we have some awesome people that might not be on the 2-hour show every week that you still want to see wrestle every week. So I think we have more great wrestling in us, and I know that I don't want to go longer than 2 hours out of the gate here, and I think 2 hours is great for the live show, and then I think for the live crowd we can tape some more great stuff that people are going to want to watch at another time.
What about an idea of, say, like here there's a semi-post game show, but let's say the 2 hours are up and maybe go, you know, an idea of something like go to, whether it's BR, YouTube, and do like a 20-minute recap with promos or things like that. Has that been considered?
Yeah, for sure. That is something that's been talked about a lot, and I think that's something that you might see. And then I also, you know, you might see more content from us, not necessarily live on Wednesday night, that was taped that night on Wednesday night, but it's going to be really good wrestling that I think people are going to hear, and probably I believe in word of mouth, either on a movie or a wrestling match or whatever. And so I'd really like to do, I believe in also live wrestling. I think it's more exciting, and I believe big shows should be live. And I think people, like I've said 100 times to all you guys now, that I think like people have been missing live, high production, you know, quality values, weekly wrestling every week from like good, nice arenas and like awesome matches. It's just not something, especially with the caliber of the wrestlers that are out there now, and just these great matches, and also with the caliber of the technology and the HD. I just think it's going to be really awesome for people to have. But yeah, I mean, where it's going to end up, I don't know yet. But I do think it's like going to be really good for people that we do it. I just don't want to do more than a 2-hour show, because I think more than 2 hours, I think 2 hours is the perfect amount for a live wrestling show.
There's been a lot of talk.
Sorry, you guys came same time. Okay, well, you want to start here? Okay, then we'll come back.
There's been a lot of talk over years of an off-season for wrestlers, especially for the health of those wrestlers. Is there any kind of talk within all league wrestling?
There's nobody more health conscious, I believe, as far as a wrestling promoter, a CEO, president of a wrestling organization than I am, and also being very hands-on with the creative process and who's booked for TV every week and who's going to be booked as we go into weekly TV. You're not going to see the same people on TV every week. There is no off-season. There is no off-season in wrestling. You know, I expect we'll probably take Christmas off this year. I think TNT does the Christmas Story Marathon, so I think Wednesday's Christmas this year, so you're not going to see, I don't think, a TV from us that week, but I do think like there will be wrestling from us almost every week on Wednesday on TNT. It's going to be live as much as I can possibly do it, and I want people to have that, and I want, it doesn't have to be the same wrestlers every week. And it's not going to be the same wrestlers every week, which is why we're advertising different stuff for the different weeks. We're advertising Sammy Guevara, who didn't even wrestle tonight, in the first match against Cody, so he's going to be fresh, and then for example, and then mystery partners we've advertised. I think we brought in now Pac, who hasn't wrestled for us yet, has been wrestling other places, but he's coming fresh for us. So you'll see different people every week. So no, there is no off season. I want people to know that like this is something that's going to be there for them every week, except maybe Christmas. And then I think we can, with scheduling and booking, but just by being organized, I think we can really take care of our wrestlers and manage their dates, which is what we've been doing. And I don't think any big wrestling promotion has ever probably put more resources in with asking our guys to work less dates than I have, to be fair.
Can I just quickly ask you about the broadcast team? You made the 2 additions of Golden Boy and Tony Schiavone, and they're great additions to the team. How's that going to work on Wednesday nights in terms of, will there be some that come do some matches? Is there going to be some who do all the matches? Have you guys figured that out yet?
It's not exactly clear. Tony's just joined us, and Alex is new to us too. Alex is definitely going to be doing full gear. Tony will be at the Georgia football game that day, but Tony's going to be a big part of the Wednesdays, and I expect Tony to be with us on Wednesdays. And Golden Boy will be at full gear. It'll be the same commentary team at West Night or on pay-per-view. And then on TV, I think there's been a huge demand for fans that want to hear Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone call wrestling together again. And Excalibur also brings a lot of knowledge and a really intelligent insight into what's going on in the matches. And I think he'll be a really good addition to those 2 guys as well. So I expect, we'll mix it up for pay-per-view and TV. And then also Tony can keep contributing in the studio as a producer in the control centers or something. I've had a lot of fun doing with him too.
Some gauge number for tonight?
I don't have the exact number. Raph, I don't know if Raph's got it. Hey, what do you got? Oh, they asked about the gate. I don't know if you were going to comment on but it was pretty good. I know it was very good. It was a very good number. It was a lot of money. It was very good. Thank you, Raph. What else can I do? I want to make sure I get everybody.
Is Neil sticking around for the women's division, or is she a one-off?
I'm not sure about that yet, but we're not sure. I'm not sure about that, but I was glad she was able to do the Battle Royale.
Tony, you had mentioned that you wouldn't want to interfere with any of your NFL footprint. What steps can you make to make sure during NFL games, particularly Jaguars games, some competition aren't used as advertisements with your product?
Well, how do you mean?
Let's say there's a Jaguars game on Fox and they want to advertise for someone else.
Oh, I mean that's I can't have anything to do with that. I mean Fox pays a lot of money to broadcast those games, and they can advertise whatever they want. And I expect they probably will advertise programs that are on Fox, so I don't have any problem with that. That's the game we're in. So no, I'm very excited about the NFL's partnership with Fox. So no, it's awesome, and I love being in the NFL, and I do think that is, like I said, I prioritize balancing my time, and I do think that's something we're going to run into. I have no problem with that.
Can you walk us through the Moxley situation? When he got hurt, was Pac always in play? This whole process happened really quick that you got a replacement.
It did. It was very fortunate. We were already deep in negotiations with Pac about coming in. We'd already been working on something for him to come in, and the situation became right for him to come in. And I expected he was probably going to be here. I was hoping he'd be here tonight anyway, and then it worked out that he was able to work the match for us, and it was a true. I don't want to use the expression lifesaver because honestly it was a pretty scary situation with John. So I don't want to get into his personal medical situation. I think he's the one who wanted to break the news to everybody, and he did. And he wanted to be here more than anybody, and nobody's tougher than John. And it was a really scary deal, and I'm just glad he's okay, and I'm glad we were able to give people a really quality match that people were excited about. And I do think when John's healthy, like he still does want to have a great match with Kenny, and I think they will have a great match.
Tony, one more.
Yeah.
One more question, please.
When it comes to John and Kenny, I mean, are you kind of gearing that for television or for pay-per-view?
I don't want to make any big announcements yet, but I do think it was a huge match. Everybody was really excited about for this show, and I do want to make sure, when John is healthy, I don't want to put a timetable on it right now because John can't be here right now. And when John's healthy, I do want to give people the match, and so I can't tell people when they'll see it, but I do expect as soon as John's ready to go, we'll make an announcement. Thanks, Dave. And if anybody else if anybody else has one really big question,
I got one.
What do you got, Mike?
What was the decision process like to bring the next pay-per-view to Baltimore?
The decision process to bring the next pay-per-view to Baltimore is it's a really good date. It's a really good date for a wrestling show. It's the time it made sense, and it was an arena and a market that it was just calling us. Baltimore's a great town for AEW. Baltimore's a great town for wrestling. It's a great building for wrestling. It's the right time to do that pay-per-view. It's the right time for us. We'll have had 6 weeks of great television shows. We know Chris Jericho's AEW champion now. If he's still the AEW champion, then whoever the AEW champion is, I expect they'll be defending the title. I expect it's going to be a really, really good card, and I having the inside track of knowing some things that'll probably that we're going to do. I think it's going to be a really awesome show. And the thought process on Baltimore is to get a building like that. When you have a chance, jump on it. It's Royal Farms is a great building to watch a wrestling show, and Baltimore is one of the best wrestling towns. That's a great question to go out on. I'm excited. I hope a lot of you are at Baltimore, and I'm going to try and do everything in my power to make sure it is of the standard of the shows you guys have come to expect from AEW. And thank you all for everything you've done to kind of tell people about what we're doing, because without you guys spreading the word about a lot of our wrestlers before they were on this great platform with TNT, and ITV and all the awesome things we're doing. You guys were the ones that kept this flame going, and thank you all. I really appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, guys.
Like what you heard? New episodes drop every week. If you want more content, follow us on Facebook at STF Underground Podcast or on Twitter and Instagram at STF Underground.